So, welcome back at the We Horse Online Festival. We are now in session number 4, and we are delighted to have someone from sunny Hawaii, where at the moment it is 7:25 in the morning. And also personally, I'm really excited that she is on the panel because she is my godmother. Hello and good morning to Hawaii, Linda Tellington-Jones.
Good morning. This is just like Equitana.
Exactly. It's like the Equitana family coming back together. And we have been working for Linda for many, many years. And Linda is renowned worldwide for the T-Touch method, the Tellington Touch method, a revolutionary way of training horses that has spread to 39 countries. She has written 21 books in 15 languages, including Mandarin. And recently we have launched a project with her that got enormous reception. 2 to 3 online courses we have on wehorse.com with her. And today, Linda, it is about the magical relationship with your horse and celebrating heart to heart. So we are super excited, and the stage is yours, Linda.
Yes, and so let us just consider this concept of being with your horse, heart to heart, cell to cell, and soul to soul. So let's just, the idea of T-Touch, of the Tellington method, is we have body work, which we call the T-Touch. We have ground exercises that we call the playground for higher learning. We have special ways of leading horses that really gives the horse the understanding of what it is we want. And we have the philosophy. And this philosophy that if you want to have a special relationship with your horse, you need to change your mind and start looking for all the ways that the horse can be successful and rewarding yourself for being successful. This concept of being really clear in your mind of the behavior that you want. And so I want to show you a few just examples of this. 2 examples I have. One, how changing the mind made such a difference. This is Sybille and Paolo. And they had, Sybille had this horse from the time he was 2. They had a wonderful, wonderful relationship. And when he was in, I think, about 8 years old, she started going beyond the just light riding she'd been doing, endurance riding, which she loved. And she started doing something that's called the art of academic riding. And it's really complex, very small movements. And he was having a really hard time doing it. And she was getting angry, and she just couldn't believe she was doing this because that's not who she is. So she gave him to a friend to ride. And the friend endurance rider, she rode him. She was in the same stable. So she was with the horse all the time, but didn't have this heart connection. And Sybille brought one of her other horses to me for an issue that he had, and she learned the T-Touch. And what happened then is she went home, and literally in one T-Touch session, their relationship changed. And she got back that heart-to-heart connection. And so I want you to just think about what it takes. And so I want to show you another slide here. Let's change the slides. I'm going to show you today, I'm going to focus on the T-Touch because it's a takeaway that you can go home and you can go right out to the stable and start using. And it's this basic concept of 1 1/4 circles. And I'm going to have you hold your hand up. And so I'll show you on my own hand what you can go out and do on your horses. Now, the idea here, it's 1 1/4 circles. Now, why do we focus on 1 1/4 circles? Because that is a link to that amazing divine spark in every cell in the body, 100 trillion cells in the average human body. And how do you think we function? How do we breathe? How does our blood flow? I mean, we're walking miracles. And this 1 1/4 circles with a pause That's a link to connect to that cellular wisdom in every cell in the body. And we've done so much work now with the merging of science and spirituality, and you can develop a special connection with your horse. Later, I'm going to show you just what pressure I'm using, but just hold this in your head, 1 1/4 circles. And so let's just take a look here at how we do this with another slide. And this is the heart hug. Now, if we want our horses to want to be with us, we have to be in a state of calmness. And I'm going to show you something here. I'll just tip my computer a little. I'm going to have you follow me. Put one hand right here on your chest, which is your heart chakra, and put the other over it. And you can, whatever's comfortable, you can fold your hand back, but just cup it and imagine putting your heart in your hand and your hand on your chest and on your, and move, imagine the face of a clock. Now, the reason we do that, when we imagine the face of a clock, on that clock, we're going to put numbers like 6 toward the ground, 9 to the right shoulder, 12 under the chin, and 3 to the left shoulder. Now, why we do that? Because the numbers bring up, activate our logical part of the brain. And this Tellington method is very logical. And on the other hand, when we imagine the face of the clock, that activates the right brain. And this right brain is what gives us our creativity, our feeling, our compassion, and our intuition, our ability to connect with divine consciousness within you, within your horse. So move, just catch the tissue, just the skin, just lightly, and move it in 1 1/4 circle. Now, before you get on your horse, if you just do this, even before you groom, nice deep breath, 1 time and 1/4. And try your other direction. For some of you, the other direction will be better. It's whatever feels good and feels right. Now, what this does for you all, it calms you, it grounds you, it gets you over these looping thoughts that we all have. And it can get you over fear and bring you to a place of gratitude and being able to really connect and focus with your horse. Nice breath. And now, and so we're going to look at another case here. What I want you to do is see this on your horse. And this come a little lower, down a little bit. Good girl. Now I have to pay attention to how I'm standing, that I move my body, because look, if I get stiff, I hold my breath. Doesn't look so good, right? And she feels that. And around the base of the ear is the triple heater meridian. It runs down the neck, across the shoulder, and all the way down to the hoof. Become a little lower. Now, what's important here is the lowering the head, and this gets your horse's trust. The second T in T-touch stands for trust. And doing this ear T-touch like this is such a beautiful way. And that down, now you can see, like, you subscribe to WeHorse and you can get the long version of all these videos. I'm just showing you the little trailer here to give you a sense of how you get in and get all of this. And this ear touch is so incredible. If you have a horse who has a problem, who has colic while you're waiting for the vet, who is spooky, who doesn't listen to you, this ear T-touch is such an amazing way of developing a special connection. And now, and so you're going to go now to the other end of the horse in the next slide. And this is the tail. Now you think, interesting, why would I go to the tail? Now, he liked it when I came down. Some horses clamped their tails. He actually lifted it a little. That's nice. See there? Now I'm moving it, and this is really good that he trusts enough to move it, because I want to be able to move this tail to affect the cranial sacral fluid. And we'll watch that without sound again as I'm doing this, because what this tail touch does, it really gives you an opportunity to gain trust in your horse, so that things that come behind them don't scare them. Think of that connection that we can really affect the emotions of our horse by doing this tail touch. Nice. And you just want that gentle pull and connection. And what that does is activate the cranial sacral fluid. And that is like the elixir of life through the spine. And so we'll go to the next. And this, I want you to listen to. So when her head's up this much, you see this is tighter. So I want you just down a little bit, just like that. That's nice. And now I'll use what we call the lying leopard. It's just the easy, there, the finger part. And I get a little bit more movement. And she's really responding nicely to my left hand, just asking her to keep her head down. That's really good. I'm going to go all the way down her legs with this, easy. I just want your foot on the ground, easy. So when she picks that up, I touch the other leg. She's not sure what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I touch both of them at once. And then she won't pick it up. Then she can understand what I'm doing. Easy, good girl. And now I'm just doing a circle and a quarter with whatever part of the fingers make a contact. There. That's really good. Good girl. This is just grounding her. Circle and a quarter, little pause and a slide. And I really have to pay attention to my own breathing. And I watch her eye, watch the blinking, what she's thinking. Good. Huh? And be sure that your horse's head is free. Don't put them in cross ties. I want the horse to be able to reach back and touch me and connect with me. Now, it seems to take all this time to do this. Huh? Why not just groom the horse and jump on? Because we're giving her a sense of her body in a way that is going to really enhance her health. And not just the physical health, but the emotional and mental health. And you just run these long lines parallel to the spine. That's nice. Remember this, I run these parallel to the top line, these lines, and I make a lighter connection in the slide than I did actually in the circle. And so let us just move on now to our next slide. Yeah. And I want to show you another example. This is Annika and Billy. And Annika was very successful in Western competitions in Germany with this quarter horse, but she came to me because she didn't feel like he liked her, that he had a connection with her. He didn't pay attention. And so the first thing I had her do, she's been to 3 trainings with me in Germany now, but the first time I just had her put him on the lunge line to see what she normally did. And he was just going along like, a very obedient, wonderful horse, but no energy, no connection. And you notice I have a wrap on him. This is a 4-inch elastic ace wrap that we actually dye them so that they don't look like a bandage, because connecting the horse from the front to the hindquarters in this way gives them a new sense of themselves. It gives them boundaries. So you'll see, and so in the next slide that you see, what I did was ask Annika Annika rather, to just shoot her energy, give him energy from herself, stand more upright, and imagine that she could connect like her energy from her solar plexus to him. And you can see he just took off. And it's like, think of energy as every thought you have, every feeling you have, every emotion you have, and every belief. And her belief is that he wouldn't connect and that he was just like lacking in impulsion, because that's how he'd been trained to be. Now, we're going to go on. And so I want you to see now, here she is doing a heart hug, just with the one hand at the moment, to connect with him. Oh, and connect with him and think about this heart-to-heart connection and the cell-to-cell with our T-touches and soul-to-soul. And so you'll see in the next slide, I want you to see what I did was I got on him then. And if you look closely, you'll see that I have in my hand this, what we call a Liberty ring. It's a stiff ring. And what I did first and I recommend you do this first when you have whatever bridle you use or hackamore or whatever, just have that just for safety, for your own safety. And what I did was get him to slow down, move on, turn, stop. And horses love this when you get off their head. And so you'll see in the next slide, here is Annika, and we took the sound off because I'm speaking in German in this. And I'm just having her, she's just holding the reins so that they don't flop around. And she just had a marvelous time. Now, I didn't show you the next slide here where she took the bridle off, because we go through steps where we have a person on the ground and have just a little rope around the neck so that the rider feels safer. If you're in a small space, you can also do this if you don't have someone else. Just start like this and you'll find that your horses respond so incredibly well. And something happens, you all, when you start trusting your horse in this way and they start trusting you. And so you'll see in the next slide, what happened, I had her bring him back into the arena. And we always have several horses in the arena working with several of our teachers at the same time. And this horse, Billy, he just wanted to hang out with her. And what happened when she started doing the T-touches on him and making a connection, she wrote to me after a while and she said, he doesn't want me to ride him until I've done 30 minutes of T-touch. And I said, I think we need a little different arrangement here, because she was doing a little bit more of scratching. And oh man, if you start scratching a horse in certain places, they don't want to stop. So move the skin 1 1/4 circles. Move it, try it on your own arm and actually move the skin. It's not over the skin. That won't have any effect, because what you can do is actually release pain or fear at the cellular level with these 1 1/4 circles. And so you'll see in the next slide, I'm going to show you how you get started with this neck ring. Now I'm riding bareback because so many people now are wanting to ride bareback, and this is something we taught in our school for many, many years. I had a 9-month school for residential school for riding instructors. So I'm going to let the sound go a minute and just let you listen to this. Maybe we won't. And so what I'm explaining here is how you sit. So if I had a saddle on, I'd have my foot straight under my hip. But when I'm riding bareback, I just I want to get more thigh on, and I allow my foot to go a little more forward. So we're just going to move this. And by the way, if you're an adult rider wanting to ride bareback for the first time and you didn't do this as a child, I really recommend that you get one of these really nice bareback pads, because they just stabilize you. There's some wonderful pads out there. And many people love to ride bareback, but it gives you a lot more stability if you have that felt pad under you. This is something I had to ride to school for the first 6 years of my life. So we didn't have saddles, not in Gibbons, Alberta. So I'm just showing what most people do to stop. They'll lean back and pull. But when you do that and you close your leg, you're actually getting the horse to go forward. So to go forward, I just give a little flutter with my leg, with my lower leg. And to stop, I close the thighs. And notice I'm moving the ring up the neck to turn. And you can start like this with the reins at first. And then you can, and I have this stick. I use a white dressage whip because I can touch him on the shoulder. I can touch him from behind. So I give a little flutter with my leg. And this horse is Western trained. And he learned when you close your leg to go back. So I just say, no, I just mean to go forward. Just a little flutter, not a real press and release. It's on the release that they go forward. And I can switch hands, just touch him from behind, because this horse was a little pokey. And I just lift up on the ring to stop. Lift up and release. Nice. Let's take a nice deep breath. Imagine this is you riding your horse. And so we'll take a look next. This is another part of work. Let's turn I want you to hear this because this is something you can do to really help your horses to relax and listen to you. So this is something that we call the inchworm. And you put your hands on the crest of the neck. And you want to make sure your horse is not cross-tied at this point because they won't be able to lower the head. And if you are doing this work in the cross ties, which I would really recommend you do it in the stall and not on cross ties, but if you are, then make sure that the horse can lower the head. Because you see how low this mare is bringing her head. So I put my hands on, I push the skin together, pause, and slide apart. And this really, it's a wonderful thing to do just a few minutes before you get on. And it grounds them, it gets them listening, gets them calm. You're just going to watch this again. Just imagine you've got your horse here with you. Nice. Now, what I'm going to do now is talk about the pressure in a few moments, but this is what we call the inchworm. And if we can get the sound going, it would be great. I would love it. I'm not sure what happened here. We just have to imagine we have the sound. So we'll go on to the next slide.
Yeah, Linda, unfortunately for this one, we planned not to have sound.
No problem. We're perfect. Everything's perfect.
Exactly. We proceed to the next one. So
yep. Now,
let's check it out.
This is where T-touch is really different, you all. And it's in the pressure we use. This is not massage. And in T-touch work, whether we're working with horses, dogs, cats, humans, guinea pigs, anything, we consider pressures from 1 to 10. And the reason we do this is to give you an idea of how light this 1 to 3 pressure is, because on your horses, most of the time, we're talking a 1 to 3 pressure. And when say you go to get a massage, most people, if they want deep massage, and it will start like a 6 or 7, this is how light this is. Now, I'm going to have you actually watch me here, and I'm going to take my glasses off because I'm going to show you how you can get a 1 pressure first. Now, where you would use a 1, say you had a horse, say you're doing around the eye of a horse, you're doing T-touch around the eye. That's how lightly you would do it. And that's how I'm going to teach you how to get your 1 pressure. So you support your elbow, so your arm's not just hanging out there in the air. And I catch my thumb to my cheek. Now, I take my forefinger and I just move the skin, my eyelid, in a circle and a quarter. Now, I don't want you to pop your eye out now. So that means it's really light, just enough connection to move that skin around. And that's your 1 pressure. Now, you want to feel it on your arm. I'm going to hold my arm up so you can see it. And now I'm putting my thumb underneath because your thumb is a connector. Curve your fingers. And now my middle finger is my longest, so I just let it leave, and I just let my other fingers follow with it. I catch the skin, and I go 1 circle and a quarter more. And then I do a little, just very light connection to the next circle. Now, these pauses in between when you're working on your horse or yourself, these pauses, that allows the miraculous system, the miraculous body, to be in the ideal state for healing or for learning. In cranial sacral work, it's called the still point. And that's what we achieve, that absolute amazing connection in the pause. 1 circle and a quarter. Notice how, think about it like 5 arcs. So my first arc, and if I think of the part toward the ground, like if I were standing, 6 o'clock is toward the ground. So I'd go 6 to 9 is a little arc, and then 9 to 12. Now notice here, as I come from 6 to 9, my fingers curl more. I go up to 12. They start to straighten at 3. They're almost straight, and they curve back to 6. Now we do that last quarter. Now, the logical question would be, wait a minute, why do that last quarter? If you experiment on yourself, you'll find if you do exactly 1, like 6 to 6, it's like, what? Wait a minute, it's not finished. Now, it took me years and years finally to come to the realization, thanks to a young man in one of our courses who said, you know what, that 1 1/4 circle, that's actually the golden ratio. That's that magical spiral that is in all of nature. And the research that we've done, the studies that we've done with this work, believe that what we're actually able to do is to release fear at the cellular level, release fear in your horse, or long-standing discomfort in yourself or pain. So think about it. If you have anywhere in your body, like most riders have something, go 1 1/4 circles, pause at the quarter, and then move the skin back to 6. 1 1/4 and back to 6. That quarter back is what we call a snail's tail. And I remember doing that on a horse in Russia in the vet clinic at the Olympic Center many, many years ago. It was 1985, with a horse that had really severe navicular and was in a lot of pain and couldn't touch her anywhere. But I could do the quarter circle. And over the years, from injuries that I've had, because I always love it, anytime I get any kind of injury, I learn so much. I found that, wait a minute, I can release pain, long chronic pain, from 1 circle and a quarter. So anywhere you're dealing with it in your body, you'll find if you practice this on yourself, then you get a sense of what your horses are feeling. It's really magical. I want you just to feel this, just to have a possible connection. Now, what I want you to understand with this pressure, I want you to go to the 3. Now, that was the 1. That was the lightest pressure. Now, to get the 3, because most of you, you'll find you're working to move the skin on your horse, to do the T-touch for trust. You're looking at a 2 to max 3 pressure. So support your arm again. Go back and catch the thumb on the cheek so you're not just kind of hanging out there. Now find your cheekbone. Just feel. Most of the time we don't, do that. Where's the bone? Feel the bone under here. Say hello. Hello, cheekbone. Now I move. See, and it's like 1 1/4. And then pick my fingers up and move to another place. Now, when I can feel that cheekbone clearly all the way around the circle, then I can go back to my arm, thumb underneath, because it's different. If I just use my fingers without the connection of the thumb, it's not as clear. 1 1/4, and feel that. Wait a minute, what was that pressure I used? Oh, yeah. Now, just think about it. That's only a 3. If somebody says, oh, man, I don't feel anything with that, it's not enough. So if I just press harder, try just really press harder, and it will make you hold your breath. And that doesn't help. So instead, if somebody wants to go deeper, if I want to go deeper in the neck of a horse, I tip my fingers up, I go straight in. And now, wow, it doesn't make me hold my breath, and I can go deeper. And sometimes into the neck of a horse, you'll see me, if you watch my videos, because I've got I think it's 30 videos that We Horse has made now of these different touches. You just start watching them. And you'll find you can turn the neck and go in deep and really release that horse's body. Now, I want you to understand what we're working here. This is not massage. This is not about muscles. We're connecting not just with the fascia, but our intention is connect with the cells. And our message to the body, no matter what's going on, is, wow, remember your perfection. And what I'm talking about is at the cellular level. Because what do you think makes this body work? You know what? How come our blood flows? How come we can breathe? Every cell in the body, it's known scientifically. I love the book Spontaneous Evolution by Bruce Lipton. Is in a chapter on the development of cells. He talks about this amazing communication between the cells. And that's what we're talking about here, is this communication with your horse, this magical connection. And the best way you can get it is to do this on yourself. And I really encourage you, I've been, for 2 years now, we've been teaching this for self-help online. And people go back and they work on their horses and they think, oh my God, now I know why that horse will follow me when I start doing this. So I want you to think about this. And what we're actually, the latest thing is this understanding of it's called liquid crystalline collagen continuum matrix. It's a net that goes out through all the fascia, through the whole body. And that's what we're talking to. With these light touches, we're connecting with the cellular intelligence. And if you're interested in this, I've been doing this since 1976, when I first read Nobel Prize winner Sir Charles Sherrington concept that every cell in the body knows its function in the body. So let's move on, and maybe you'll have some questions after. So our next time, this is to learn more. Tune in and get these videos. You'll see all kinds of ways that you can help your horse. And,
exactly. Oh, sorry, didn't want to interrupt you. I'm back here.
Good, do it. Because Tell them about the videos. I'm so excited, Christian, that we have this.
Exactly. We have in total 4 online courses that we shot with Linda. It's about T-Touch. It's the introductory part. It is about the stroking and circling. It is an explanation of every single T-Touch in detail and how you and your horse can benefit from it. And we have it laid out in really, in my opinion, phenomenal courses on wehorse.com. And those are really among our landmark courses. And we now have a special deal for all our participants of the online festival. So with the coupon code Online Festival 2020, you see also displayed on the bottom of the page on the green button, you can actually join in, and on the payment page, just redeem this coupon code and you get an exclusive discount on our yearly subscription. It is, as many here asked, it is in English. wehorse.com is in English. And yeah, check it out if you just are interested. There are also plenty of trailers where you get a feeling of how the videos are composed. So this is really brilliant. And Linda, when we move on, there have been numerous publications on you and on the T-Touch method, I think available in the States at our friends from Trafalgar Square Books.
Well, and from Amazon. They all sell through Amazon. Yeah.
Exactly. And in all relevant bookstores in the respective country you reside. So those are the books. And now I think it's time to dive into the questions section, the Q&A.
Great. And before they do, Christian, what I want to point out, if you, at the last slide, if you let them see if they can contact us, because what I'm planning to do is take the course that you developed and coach with it so they can sign up for a personal coaching. And it's really working brilliantly. I'm so thrilled that we made all those videos. So let's go for the questions.
Exactly. So we dive into the questions. And if you meanwhile still have questions, please drop them under Ask a Question in this section, and we jump right into it. And Tessa asked a question that got the most likes so far in the community. And so the question is, and that is, I think, something that could be a hurdle actually to start T-Touch, and I'm really interested on your stance on that. What should I do with a horse that dislikes being touched?
Well, it's not unusual. And normally the reason they dislike being touched is that they've frequently been groomed too hard. In my very first book of this, it was published in the 70s, a horse was sent to me that had been groomed really hard every day by a groom who thought he was doing the right thing with these circular curriculum grooms. You couldn't get 6 feet from her before she'd start trying to bite or kick you. She was in so much pain. So what you do, you start off the body and literally with the back of your hand and off the body. And sometimes you have to be like 6 inches. And it's just like, pay attention to your breathing and smile, because when you concentrate, it's totally normal. Like we hold our breath and we focus on it, like smile and breathe, and just imagine, go far enough away that horse isn't threatened. And sometimes we can do this across the, like outside the paddock even, and you just start making this like, and hold, use your energy, that is your mind, hold this idea that it's going to be safe to connect this horse. And often I'll start just by squatting in the arena, or in the paddock rather, and just squatting with my back to the horse and letting the horse come up behind me, and just start slow. You can do it.
Wonderful.
And
so
also, like, the thing is, Christian, if you find any place, like, first of all, grooming is so important. My God, I can't tell you how many horses don't want to be touched because of the way they're groomed. You have to be really gentle. And on the horse that I'm talking about in the book, we started with a wool sock over our hand with the touches. That's how resistant the horse was to any contact. no brushing. So I hope that helps her, but I know it does because lots of people have success with it.
Okay, Tessa, so we hope this answers your question. Let's move on to the next one by Angelina. She is among our heavy users today, and she has been posting a lot of questions. Here's the next one. How long would you suggest should be the first T-touch session for a horse? And assume this is now for an unexperienced horse. Unexperienced with T-touch.
You know, whatever time you have, it can be just a couple of minutes. It can be whatever intrigues you, and search for ways. T-touch is about curiosity, about what can we do together? What can I do? See, we have all these different shapes of our hands. We've given them all animal names. You think, why would you give that? Why is this called the clouded leopard? You know, why do we have a raccoon touch with the tips of our fingers? Now, when I first named them, these names, I was doing it because different parts of our hand, well, I gave them numbers. Who's going to remember a number? But they were named after animals that I worked on in various situations, like the lying leopard and a little leopard in a zoo in the Los Angeles Zoo. But what we found now today, there is something, because we're all locked in around the world, something called skin hunger deficit. And if you start doing this on yourself with these different, like this is the lying leopard. You think of the paws of a little leopard on you, and it brings you into nature. It takes you beyond yourself. It's a very different thing. And so we just start honoring this amazing brilliance that we are. Remember, you're perfect at the cellular level.
Wonderful. So let's move on to the next question. We don't see by whom it got asked, but the question is, would T-touch help a horse with trust issues gain trust? Or a horse aggressive habits if you can't get close enough?
Yeah, I mean, this is where food is really worthwhile, because with the aggressive habits, I'll just give you an example. A horse that I worked on at the Delaware Veterinary Clinic with Dr. Matthew McKay-Smith. Those of you in America will remember Dr. McKay-Smith. He's now crossed the Rainbow Bridge, but he was a vet expert for equus for many, many years. And the thing that is so interesting, now I forget what my point was. My God, what was I going to tell you? What did you ask? I just was thinking of Matthew and forgot.
About how to gain trust.
The trust,
okay.
Right.
T-touch help gain trust again.
Yeah. By getting that head down, like I saw in the first video, and getting your horse to the point that you can do the ears. Actually, a really good example, and I hope you have this in your stable of videos, Christian, is that video that I made with Nicole Uphoff and her Olympic horse who could never be touched on his ears.
German Olympian.
Yes. And I worked on this horse. He was 18 years old and she'd never been able to touch his ears. So it was a big hassle to clip his ears, a big hassle. And I just did touches on the rest of the body. You see it on the video. It took maybe 30 minutes. And when I came to his head, just stood there and just asked him, brought his head down, and I could touch his ears. And Nicole couldn't believe it. And she could then touch from the saddle. The touches of trust that are listed in my books and the touches of trust that Christian has videoed here, that's what gains the trust. When you can get your hands on them with respect, and your respect, the respect that we see, we connect with the horse at the soul level. So I didn't finish saying how long. Your session might be 3 minutes just to do the ears before you get on. And it might be because you're intrigued and you just follow your fingers and go over the whole horse, as long as it's interesting to you all. It can be short or long. It all works because it's accumulative. That's the thing about T-touch. Gets better.
Let's move on. The next question by Kate. And Kate wonders, what should I do if my horse doesn't like being touched by his ears or at his ears, searched by the ears? What do I do if there is a problem?
Yeah, don't start there. Start on a place that the horse is interested. Start on the shoulders, the neck. Just what I said, like with Rembrandt, there's no way. If I tried to touch his ears, there's no way. But when he gained the interest and trust, I'm like, amazing. You do the tail and you do the hair slides on the tail first. And then when you come around to the head, you work up the neck, the back of your fingers. Just work up the neck and then on the, just like this, on the cheeks and this wherever you can touch. You don't worry about the ears. And then you take your hand and you go back like this with the back of your hand. That's called the llama touch because it's famous for the first time I ever worked on a llama when the owner said, "You'll never touch his ears, Linda." So I just did the back of my hand like this. See, I can make circles with the side of my thumb. It all has different names, all these different animals. And then I just went like that. Yeah. And then you can touch the ears. And don't worry about, go for the trust and not for the ears at first, and go for the head down. You've got to bring the head down. And you'll see that also. You'll see it in the videos, but you'll also see it in my books because it's really clearly described. Go for trust.
And maybe to add more insight for our viewers, it is also the case, because you just mentioned that T-touch is not only for horses, because you mentioned the llama, and it is basically for all animals and also for humans, I think, and that's very important to recognize and always keep in mind, right?
Well, and especially now, Christian, in the time when, man, it's really hard to get any kind of help. People are used to help from others. You can do this on your own body and release pain or fear. And that fear that so many are feeling, it's just the unfound fears of what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen. Why this works? Because I know that we have some really people interested in the details. When we're in a state of trauma or drama or fear, it's the amygdala, the limbic system, that primitive part of the brain is in control. Fight, flight, freeze, same thing with our horses. Now, when we do a heart hug, what we call this heart hug, and we breathe, try it again, 1 1/4, and we smile, because the smile activates the serotonin, the feel-good hormone. So when you're working on your horse, practice your breathing and your smile. Now, moving the tissue has also been shown to activate the oxytocin, and that's the trust hormone. Just moving the tissue gently, not deep massage, that activates more cortisol. And that's a huge, like 2,000 person study that was done on this, the difference between oxytocin, the trust hormone, with light contact with the body, and the deep work that many people don't feel if they don't get the deep work. That's more of the cortisol, the stress hormone that is activated. So interesting.
Wonderful. And one of our participants also mentioned that it might also work for plants. So let's move on to this one, Catherine. And the question is, my horse stares at things until he frightens himself. How would you work with a horse like this, both on the ground and in the saddle? What is your stance on that?
Well, you mean like they spook at something, so you turn and face it and they stare. Is that what she's talking about?
Yes, that is the question.
I have an answer for you. I learned this from a book. I don't know, it's at least 30 years ago. It was a book written by one of the elephant guys who lived with elephants. I forget his name now. But he wrote this book and he said, when you're out in safari, which I've been on horseback in Botswana, and if that elephant is facing you and the ears are up and they're a little bit, it's a 50-50 chance whether they charge you or turn and run. But if that elephant is sideways to you, they'll never charge. Now, why? It's just logical. It's this adrenaline rush. What's going to happen if you're facing? So instead of facing our horses to the corner, like to that tiger in the corner of so many arenas, No. You turn your horse sideways. You just do a little indirect rein, and you don't put the head toward it. You put it a little bit away from it. And that's when we reach back and we do some touches on the hindquarters, because when they're afraid of that thing over there, man, they don't feel their body. So you bring them back into the body and go straight. And all this thing, how many of you have had horses, just like you say, they stand there, they stare, and then they're going to want to like bolt, spin and bolt. Works every time. I don't bet, but I could have won a lot of bets this if I would have been unkind enough to bet, because I know I'm always will win with that one. Try it.
Okay, great. Next question, Melissa. And that is a question many men are wondering day in and day out. How would T-Touch help snappy mares?
This is a really hard thing because you're looking at hormones. And it's not easy. I mean, hormone balance is a really tough thing. And so many horses, I mean, so many mares during their season, they'll be really upset. One of the things that we've found is when we take that, what we call a white wand, it's a white dressage whip. The reason we use white and the stiff one, I can outline the horse's body with it. And when they're like in that heat stage where they're really like wanting to anything that maybe squeal or try to bite or kick, just patiently outline with that stick, that white stiff. You can use a willow to do it. We used to do that. And just all the way down the front of the neck, to chest, to the front legs, over the top, over the back. And we've had real success with that. It's not easy. I mean, testing, there's only one lab in the US that any of my vet friends say works, and it's still hard. And how do you treat it? So T-Touch on the part that they can stand. And that's where I'm really careful, because, man, if you press hard, they can just squeal and bite you. But I put them in what we call half taming the tiger, so they can't bite me. And I'll go in with a little pressure in, circle, and they move. Ah! Like they may not like it at first, but that releases that whatever is going on in the body. It takes patience, but it sure doesn't help to punish them. And this can help. And I'd love it if you know, Christian, it would be so wonderful if people have horses like that and they would write to me at that, Linda@ttouch.com, because those are things that really work. And we've had very good experience with that, and it's not easy.
And maybe to add to this, Linda, you are very active on social media, so everyone can also just drop a message, and you are super responsive on everything.
But don't go to message, because I hardly ever get that. I'm so awful. I don't know. We have this.
Take everything back.
What? Because
okay.
I forget. But we can try it. I'll watch for it. I'll get better at it.
We swiftly move to the next question, and that is a question asked by Saskia Simpson, and she wonders, what exercises would you recommend to do with a new horse? So new probably means not young, but new to me and new to the stable, maybe.
Just start following one of those videos, like the Lying Leopard that we started. Get the video, watch the whole thing, and just start that with your horse. And I like to do it in the stall with the horse free, and just start from the head, the neck, the body, and just run these parallel lines. You will be amazed at what will happen with this. And Christian, I'm sorry, I'm not. One of the things you can do if you want more of this is look at our Tellington T-Touch community, because we do have, you can put these questions on Tellington T-Touch World, and we'll answer them there. Or if you really want help, go to the Tellington T-Touch, go to TTOUCH, and you can look at our community. Either way, you can get help with the questions.
And then we have one more question, and I would like to ask you for a brief answer, but this is, I think, a relevant question for everyone to start with T-Touch. How would you ask the horse actually to lower his head?
What I like to do is just, first of all, I don't use rope halters to do it because I don't want those pushing on pressure points. So I use a regular halter. And it's really cool. You can ride your lead rope in the side ring and snap it up to the top. And there's something about just a sliding down and asking him. And I just use my body and just ask him, come down a little and then hold and then start T-touching on the neck. And it doesn't take them long to get that. It's really that first, and if the horse doesn't get the hit done, don't worry. Start working on the rest of the body. Find a place that they like.
Wonderful. So that has been the Q&A session with you, Linda. It has been a pleasure having you. And now it is 8:20 in Hawaii. Time for breakfast for you. Thank you for having you. It was a pleasure, really, to have you on board for the WeHorse Online Festival. I hope you enjoyed it too.
I did, Christian. And I really want people, if they would go and take a look at joining me online to learn this stuff for yourself, because if you learn it for you, for self-help, you can work with your horses. And if you could post that after on the chat, if they can go to ttouchforyou.com ttouchforyou.com online.com/cellular wisdom, you can see how you can join us and get this.
Exactly.
stuff.
And we have the coupon code still going on, WeHorse Online Festival 2020, 33% discount on the yearly subscription. And Linda, now we're going to move on to Ingrid Klimke. And you have been also working with her, I think, a couple of years ago. So you know each other. And she has been also a T-Touch practitioner.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited. I'm going to get on and watch and be there because Ingrid is such a jewel in the horse world. She's so incredible that you have her here. Incredible.
So please stay tuned. Also, just for everyone to remember, we have the raffle going on. There is a handmade stubborn saddle at stake. It is the personal fitting. Someone from Stubborn Saddle is going to come to your barn and help you fit the saddle to your needs. We have a helmet, we have riding breeches, we have WeHorse yearly subscription, all that in the raffle. What do you need to do? Be in the last session that is going to start in 4 minutes with Ingrid Klimke. And also, if you want to double down your chances, please post an Instagram story to tell your friends and family that the WeHorse Online Festival is on. And with that, I would like to thank you, Linda, for having you. All the best to Hawaii, and hope to see you soon, Linda. Thank you very much.
Ciao.
And everyone, please stay. We are going to move you to the next session, number 5, with riding master and Olympian Ingrid Klimke.